So this is a table that I have in Supabase, and this is a code editor on my computer. And right now in this data folder, you can see that it's empty. But if I run this very short Python script right here, what happens is the table that's here in Supabase shows up as a CSV file right here in my directory. This is really cool because if you want to just back up your data quickly or move data so it's more accessible for like local LLMs or whatever sort of workflow you have, this is a really simple way to do this. And I set this up in just a few minutes. This example here, as far as getting a table as a CSV, this comes straight from Supabase's docs. They've got a pretty great Python client. And I just want to show you really quickly how you can go about setting that up yourself if that's something that you're interested in. So the first thing you're going to need is an API key. And to get that, you can go into Supabase and come down here to project settings and then API keys. And then you're going to want to grab this service role one. For my use case, this is perfectly fine. So once you've got that, you're going to save that in a .env file. I'm not going to show you that here, but you're going to want to name it Supabase key. And then the next thing that we're going to want to do is come over here and get our project ID. You can see that's right here. If you just click copy, that'll let you copy that over. Once we have those, that's what we'll be pulling in here. So save both of those, your .env file, and we've got kind of all of that set up out of the way. And then we're going to want to install the Supabase Python library, so you can do that quickly. And then I'm also using python.env for this. If you'd rather just hard code your strings right here, if this is just a personal sort of hobby play project, that's probably fine. Just don't do that in production, and definitely don't check that into any sort of a version control system. Once we've got that, I just went to the docs here, and I was actually browsing around working on some other stuff when I saw this functionality, but they have this retrieve as a CSV endpoint right here. So you can just call supabase.table and then whatever your selection is, and then just put .csv right in there. So that's all that I did. I just copied that over here. So response equals supabase.table, table name, select star.csv.execute, and then returning the data from that. You can see over here that in the response right here, we have two things that come back in a dictionary. So we have data and count. So we don't need the count in this case. We're just looking for the data, which is a string of the CSV file. So again, back over here, we're returning the response.data from this because, again, we want the table as a CSV. And then in this next function, we're going to save the CSV locally. So that's just going to take the CSV that we got from up there. Actually, it might make sense to call this CSV data just to make it a little bit simpler. And then we need to update this here. Okay, so it's going to take the CSV data that's coming from here and a file name, and then it's just going to create that file, writable, and then for each row in the CSV data, save it. In this case, the row is just going to be one row, but it works with one to n. So if the format was different, it would still work. And then my tables, right now I'm just using one table, but if you wanted to do this for multiple tables, you could just add another table name right here, and it would grab that one as well. So it'll do kind of bulk by default. And then it's just a simple iterating through the list. So for table in my tables, table CSV is get table as CSV. So again, that's calling this function and returning the response data. And then save as is, we're just creating the file name here. So in this case, my YouTube dash.csv. So we're joining data, which is this folder up here, and then table name, which in this case is my YouTube dash, but we're making it lowercase, and then replacing any spaces with hyphens and adding the .csv to the end of it, and then save CSV locally. So we got the CSV table from Supabase. We came up with the name for it, and then save it locally. It's just calling this, which is, again, opening that file, writing the contents, and saving it. Just to run it one more time so you can see it, we'll delete that file. Come in here, we hit save, and there we go. Now we've got another one. Now, just to show you that this is live and working, I'm going to go into Supabase, and I'm going to update just a transcript field here. So look, here's some text. All right, we'll save that. So now we've got some text here, and then we can come over here, we can delete this one and rerun this. Get a new file here, and then let's just look for, yep, there we go. So look, here's some text. You can see that's really pretty cool. But here's something else that's really interesting is I actually have the Supabase database already synced using Whalesync over to Google Sheets. You can see that, look, here's some text also for ID1 came over here to Google Sheets. So in the background, just while we were looking at the other stuff, Whalesync already updated Google Sheets with what was in Supabase. And just to show you that this is a two-way thing, more text here. So, let me change, you can see this. So I've added more text here to the end of this. And now we come over here to Supabase, we can see Yeah, there it is. So it's refreshed. And then again, we can come back over to our downloader file. We can run this. That should update this. And then, yep, look, there you go. More text. So that's just really quick, fun way of looking at the Supabase API and then seeing how you can download CSV files directly from the API using Python. But if you would rather sync to something like Google Sheets or Notion or Airtable in real time, you can actually just use Whalesync to set that up. And again, that's Whalesync here. You can find it at whalesync.com, free 14-day trial. And what this will do is it'll actually handle not just the CSVs, but you can actually do related tables. You can edit this in both directions. Like over here, all we're doing is getting the CSV file. If we make any changes to the CSV file, we can't really push that back to Supabase without writing a lot of code as far as matching records and dealing with conflicts. But Whalesync actually handles all of that for you in the background. It's all automated. And it literally takes just a few minutes to set up a sync. I think it took me 3-4 minutes total to get this set up because Whalesync creates the table for you and creates the columns for you and then moves all of the data over to begin with. So that's just really simple look at the Supabase API and how Whalesync can also help you if you're trying to work with CSV files in Supabase or Google Sheets or some of the other popular tools. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I really love talking about all this stuff and making tools work better and keeping sort of my tech stack as minimal as possible. So happy to chat if you have any questions or if you have anything that you'd like me to demonstrate next.